Hello, and welcome to the Jackson Hearth. Today, we're going to be talking about decluttering your mind and your digital space. And if you listened on Sunday for our inspiration, we talked about why Christians should declutter their mind and keep it very, uncluttered as possible. But today, we're going to look at how to do that, the practical things to do in order to keep the mind and your digital space decluttered. So give me a second while I share my page. So again, decluttering the digital world and mental space. Digital world declutter. Now, digital clutter is often unseen. It is because, it is and can be a drain on your energy and focus through constant notifications and searching. So digital clutter is going to be maybe your apps. It's going to be the notifications you get. It's going to be your emails. Anything that has to do with the digital world. That's what we're going to be talking about. So now we're going to first attack the inbox. So unsubscribe ruthlessly. Immediately unsubscribe from newsletters you haven't read in months. This is the biggest step to clearing and freeing your inbox. This is something that I do on a weekly or monthly basis. If I stop reading something, I'll go ahead and take it out. But this is something that I do regularly. So I do recommend this. This is really, really important to do because if you're not reading it, there's no sense in getting it and it just staying in your inbox because you think you're going to read it later. The next thing is filter and archive. Now, don't let your primary inbox be a dumping ground. Set up filters so promotional, social, and receipt emails go directly to separate folders or archive. Now, I will tell you that Gmail does a great job with this. So if you don't have Gmail, you have to go and set that up. But I have a couple of Gmail accounts and I have a couple of iCloud accounts. But in my iCloud account, I go through that usually every couple of weeks and delete things, whether it's in my junk folder, whether it's in my trash, in my inbox. I also go through one of my Gmail accounts. When I don't really go through it that much. I will just check it about once a month, once a week. But I do recommend if you have a primary one that you use to set these settings up. So therefore, you're not really getting bombarded by spam or things, promotions or things of that nature. The next thing is batch email checks. Now, dedicate a specific time to check your email instead of responding to notification bell all day. So what I do is in the mornings, I have two times I set my to check my email. Um, During the week, Sundays are different for me, but during the week, I will check them in the morning once I wake up and see if I need to anything to respond to, or if I get a time sensitive email, I'll respond to it then. But then I go back in the afternoons and do those who are not important. But these are ways that you just I would just turn your notification off for your email or just check it. You don't have to respond, but you can just check it periodically, but set up a time. Say from 8 to 9 in the morning, you're going to check and respond to emails. And then from 3 to 4 in the afternoon, you're going to check and respond to emails. Unless there is something time sensitive that you see is in your inbox that you need to respond to. Tame the phone and desktop. Wait, it's my phone, but uh, our phones and our desktops and our laptops are kind of our worst enemies. Um, Oh, sorry, I have them all here. I apologize. So let's look at the notification edit. So go into your phone, setting and turning off all notifications except for the calls and texts from immediate family. This is a must for deep focus, and I do that. So the only people that can get through to me if I put my phone to sleep or on do not disturb is my brother and my mom. Everybody else goes into my voicemail, direct to my voicemail, or I don't hear it. And I do this at night about 8 o'clock. So after 8 o'clock, again, the only people that can reach me is my brother and my mom. And this has really helped me out a lot. I put the phone down and I don't, I mean, I will check it before I go to bed to make sure I didn't miss something from my mom or brother. But usually I just turn it off and I'll see the next morning when I wake up. Home screen clarity. Now remove all non-essential apps from your phone home screen. Move move common time wasters into folders that require the extra tap to open. Now, what this means, what I essential are things that you would use for work or things that you need to do your work. But if you have games, if you have Netflix, Hulu, whatever, games or video apps or things like that, they need to be taken off your home screen and put into another folder. You won't you want only your essential things on your home screen, which I ha will be doing soon. I haven't, but I'm going to be doing that soon. Now, the desktop rule. Institute a desktop zone policy. Create one folder labeled to sort and dump everything you haven't filed into it. Force yourself to sort the folder once a week. That's a great idea, and that's something that I'm started doing. Is I actually have all my folders. They're on my home screen, so all my folders are there so if I can see them. But I have one that I send everything to, and then I go back and then sort them once I have been able to do that and think about it. But that is really a great good thing. It helps you clear your mind, it helps you clear your time, and things of that nature. Organize your files and pictures. Cloud consolidation. If you have files address across your Google Drive, your Dropbox, or your desktop, I want you to pick one of them and commit to migrating everything into that one service. Like for me is I don't have either one. I have a Mac, so I haven't started using anything. But I am thinking about probably using a Dropbox or getting an external hard drive where everything will go. This is my favorite, the photo purge. Delete duplicate or blurry photos immediately. Create folders by year and move your exciting photos into them. The goal is the goal of this is to make your library searchable, but it is not supposed to be a perfect thing. So for me, that's one of the things I have to go through. I have probably hundreds of pictures of my dogs because they're my kids for me. So I have hundreds of pictures of my dog. So I haven't done this, but I'm going to be doing this. This is something that I actually didn't know until doing my research. So I am going to be doing this and putting them in folders by year and trying to get everything for that year into that one. Now, old accounts. Delete old social media accounts, forums, and note and newsletters accounts you no longer use. This will minimize your digital footprint and risk. This is something that I've been doing. I've been going back and permanently. I need to do some more, but I've been going back and permanently deleting all my accounts because I don't use social media. The only thing I use is YouTube, Patreon, and Substack. So, um, but I will be going back and do that. So this would be awesome because you don't. Again, these are notifications that you don't need to hear. I mean, if you're not using them, if they're not, you know, what you're focused on right now. Now, decluttering your mind space. This is something that's very, very good. Um, Mental clutter is often just a decision fatigue. Remember we talked about this in our inspiration on Sunday. It's just decision fatigue, and it's unfinished loops running in the background. So think of your mind like your computer screen. You have all these windows open, but they're constantly running. They're constantly popping up and popping down. You need to close those. Close all your windows in your mind. Close all the windows that you do not need. Now, okay, the mind dump. This is something that I've been doing, and it's really been helping. It's really awesome. A lot of people will call it journaling, but mind dump is get it out of your mind. So, dedicate 10 to 15 minutes to write down everything running through your mind. This includes to-do lists, worries, vague ideas, things that you need to talk to your husband about or your wife about. Could be what you need to do with your kids, things you need to pick up at the grocery store, things you need to do for that week, um, appointments you need to write down, everything that you can think of is in your mind. I want you to dump all that out. I want you to write it down. I want you to sit down and write down everything on your mind. And this, get a journal. And this helps me to put a journal and write it down and then put some notes. Now I want you to categorize and commit. Now, once you've done that, Don't leave it there. Don't leave it on the paper. I want you to sort the items into categories. I want you to put them into actionable to do, delegate and ask, or worry and discard. Commit to only adding the actionable to-do list to your calendar. So the only thing that you're going to put on your calendar and you're going to really think about is your actionable to-do list. Everything else you're not going to worry about. You're going to just leave it on that paper and maybe come back and add it. But anything that is actionable at that moment, you're going to put it on your calendar. Everything else, again, like I said, we're just going to not worry about it. Now, implement a maybe later system. Now, stop indecision. Now, mental clutter often comes from constantly deliberating for future projects and vague ideas. I am the worst at this. I'm in the process of moving to a homestead, so I'm always thinking about things. I'm always thinking about what I should do. I'm deliberating things. So again, I go back to the mind drop. I type it up, I put it in my, use my phone or something. I don't really write it down. I need to start writing it to get off my computer. But I'm constantly doing that. And at night, if I can't, and I'll just have to say, you know what, I need to get this out of my mind. So I'll write it down somewhere. Now, this is when you're going to create a single someday or maybe list. Move all of those vague ideas, non-urgent projects, and things you might do in the future onto one designated list. Now, this gets the idea out of your working memory without discarding it entirely. So for me, I've got to think about a septic tank. I got to think about electricity. I got to think about water. I'm thinking about a fence for my dogs. I'm thinking about a storm shelter. So all these things are already on my paper. So I don't worry about it. And if I need to, I'll go back to that paper and I'll just hit it later. I'll hit it when that time comes. That way your mind is free to think about and to do the things that you need to do. Work related, when you're reading, when you're praying, it needs to be really focused on those things. Now, establish mental boundaries. No, that is actually a complete sentence. I have a hard time saying that. But protect your time by saying no to commitments that don't directly align with your values. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to your own goals. So I'm a people pleaser. I like to make people happy, so I rarely say the word no. Now, I have been in the recent years learning to say that. And I think it's very important because it is. I mean, the last statement is true. Every yes to something unimportant is a no for your goals, and you want to do things that align with your moral values, your spiritual values, and whatever values and goals you have set. So, no is a complete sentence. Do not be afraid to use that. Do not be afraid to say that. If they get mad, that's not your fault. It's theirs. So, no. If you have to say it, say no. Can you pick up can you pick up some clothes? No. Can you go to the grocery store? No. Because you have to have this word. I mean, it's not a bad word, but we're all about pleasing people, and we're afraid to say that. We're afraid it's going to upset or make somebody bad. But that's not on us. We have to take care of ourselves and our mental boundaries. We have to make sure that we're not trying to do two things at once. One, something for us and something for somebody else. So again, no is a complete sentence. Pre-decision making. Now, I'm trying to get used to this. Now, removing low-level decisions from your day. Decide the night before what you'll wear, what you'll eat for lunch, and what your first task will be. This conserves the mental English needed for the next day. And I've actually been doing this. So, for example, at night, I will put something down from the freezer that I'm going to cook tomorrow, and I already have it in my mind. I have all the ingredients on my counter. For the next day, I got to do is open it and put it on the pan. Like, for example, the other day I made homemade sloppy joes. I make them different than some people, but I had my chicken, my ground chicken. It was thawed in the refrigerator. Then I had to get my green onions, I put jalapenos and garlic in it, and then I put mustard, ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, and tomato sauce in it. And I just have all that in one area on my cabinet. And when I get ready to cook, it's all there. It's not easy. Then I eat that twice a day. So if I make it, I eat it for lunch and dinner. Or if I make it at dinner, I eat it for dinner and lunch. So those things, it actually works. And then I'll say, well, tomorrow I'm not doing anything, so I'm going to wear a sweatpants and a hoodie. Those things are really easy. And I do suggest that it's really, you may think it's crazy, but set your clothes out the night before what you're going to wear to work. Um, Have your lunch, made in the refrigerator for you to leave. Do things like that. If you make kids lunch, make them the night before. So you can just grab them, put them in their lunch bag, put them in the refrigerator, and then you just grab them when they go. These things are really going to conserve your energy for your bigger projects that you have to think about and you have to do. And so I want to thank you again. I hope this really helped because I have been talking to a lot of people who have been struggling with that mental clutter and that digital clutter. But I think and I hope that this really helps you to see and to think about things that you need to do. If you have any, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you have any other ideas or any thoughts, please don't hesitate to share because here, like I said, we're all family. So thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And from my heart to yours, have a great day.